Good day everyone, I'm Micaela Dane Macarog from BSN 1D, and for today we'll be tackling the changes in Philippine history and cultural values in different eras, starting off in Spanish, Japanese, American, and in now present. But first, let me introduce to you my groupmates, including Queenie Muyano, Cesar Navarro, Shami Jasmine, Olivia Bautista, Peterson Mendoza, and of course me, Micaela Dane Macarog. To start off, let me introduce to you Spanish era. The Philippines spent a significant portion of their history under Spanish dominion because Spain ruled the Philippines for over 300 years. It's no wonder that many Filipino rituals, traditions, and cultural standards may be traced back to the Spanish. And for your information, ang pangalan ng Pilipinas ay galing din sa mga Espanyol. Even our country's name came from the Spaniards. During his trip in 1543, the Spanish explorer Ruy Lopez de Villalobos dubbed the island of Samar and Leyte Las Islas Filipinas, or which means the Philippine Islands, in honor of King Philip II of Spain. The name Filipinas, Philippines was used during the colonial period and eventually became the official name of the Philippines or our country. Now we proceed to literacy in the Philippines during Spanish era. In Spanish, Philippine literature was born. Before the Spaniards arrived, the islands had a rich literacy legacy. But it was the Spaniards who began to print those tales and stories. This intercultural process produced the works of Rizal, the most famous Filipino writer and national hero. Examples here are Noli Me Tangere and its sequel El Filibusterismo are two books by Rizal that followed the life and death of Ibarra, a Filipino educated abroad who strives to improve his nation using knowledge. As we all know, El Filibusterismo and Noli Me Tangere was originally written in Spanish, primarily because the author Dr. Jose Rizal wants to seek the attention of the Spaniards' authority para mabuksan na rin ang kanilang mga mata sa mga maling ginagawa nila sa ating mga Pilipino during their time. Now we proceed to the language in the Philippines during Spanish era. In the Philippines, the Spanish language has influenced not just the standard Tagalog dialect but also various other dialects spoken throughout the nation. Apart from individuals who speak some type of Spanish Creole dialect, the Philippines now has over 2 million Spanish speakers. Many borrowed words from Spanish were introduced into Tagalog during the Spanish administration. Adaptation of the Spanish numerical system in a variety of circumstances, particularly when dealing with money, and adaptation of Spanish household and religious terminology were among them. One of the examples of Spanish Creole dialect is Chavacano or Chabacano na ginagamit ng ating mga kababayan na naninirahan sa Zamboanga City. Other examples will be given by my next reporter.
In addition for language, in both Spanish and Filipino, tito and tita mean uncle and aunt respectively. Another version of this will be tío and tía, which have the same meaning in Spanish and Filipino as well. Coche means car in Filipino, similar to Spanish. However, they differ in spelling. Both Spanish and Filipino, regalo means gift or present. In tradition, Christianity is more than a religious belief system as a tradition. Since Jesus initially became the object of religion, it has also developed a culture, a set of beliefs and ways of living, traditions, and artifacts that have been passed down from generation to generation. The Spaniards introduced Christianity, the Romano Católico, to the Philippines and converted the vast majority of the people. The Roman Catholic faith is practiced by at least 83% of population. Other Catholic-related traditions also born like Simbang Gabi. Spanish missionaries carried the practice from Mexico to the Philippines in 1668 as the part of their conversion efforts. Early morning services were performed by Spanish priests so that fishermen who concluded their labor late and farmers who started their days early might worship together. Spanish name Fiesta means festival in Spanish, indicating that the celebration was significantly influenced by Spaniards. The Spaniards originally brought fiestas to the Filipinos in the mid-1500s. Local worship a variety of gods and had their own culture and traditions. Sinulog, Ati-Atian, and Quiapo Fiesta are other examples. Filipinos adore parties and celebration. Whenever a good occasion to host a party and get together with relatives and friends present itself. It's almost always a grass.
Hajime Master. Watashi wa Cesar desu. Okay, so I will now introduce the Japanese era. During World War II, the Japanese took the Philippines from the control of the United States. This happened between 1941 and 1945, when the United States was able to take back possession of the country. After regaining possession, the United States relinquished its control, fulfilling its promise of granting full independence to the Philippines. Okay, way back before, based on my historian teacher, so when they said Japanese, so some of them are cruel, but some of them are good. I will show some of the pictures and clips in this video. From what I have heard, this wasn't a particular happy time, but Japan left no permanent mark on the Filipino way of life. Once the Japanese left, the Filipinos reverted back to life pretty much the way it was before they had even come. It would be years later before the Japanese would start to influence Filipino culture. Today, their influence in the Philippines is quite prevalent. But it wasn't so back then. Today, the most notable Japanese influence on Filipino culture has been in technology, such as karaoke, videoke, camera, and
Many Filipinos started writing again, and the nationalism of the people remained undaunted. Filipino writers went into all forms of literature like news, reporting, poetry, stories, plays, essays, and novels. Their writing clearly depicted their love of country and their longings for independence. During the American era in the Philippines, people greet each other with a handshake. A smile or raised eyebrows can mean hello or yes. Someone can be summoned with a downward wave of the hand. It was a massive influence for the Filipino culture as English became the dominant language alongside the official Filipino language of Tagalog. When Americans volunteered as the teachers of Filipino, they teach us their alphabet. From that time to 1946, the year the Philippines gained independence, the Americans influenced Filipinos with iconic American foods like burgers, as well as canned meat like corned beef and spam. They also introduced technologies like microwave and fridge. They also created influence for a government and educational system for the Philippines throughout their rule. As time went on and technology improved, the Americans brought influence to clothing and food to the Philippines as well. The biggest influence that can be seen today is found in the Philippine government and economic system.
The Philippines is a country where East and West collide. Filipinos have a distinct Asian heritage as well as a strong Western culture. Japanese traders, Spanish conquistadors, and American rulers all had an impact on modern Filipino culture. Filipinos, especially Western guests, are known for their hospitality. Filipinos are emotive and enthusiastic about life in a way that looks more Latin than Asian because of their close ties to Spanish culture. This is seen in contemporary artist work like as Rodi Herrera's painting, Unahan sa Duluhan. In Filipino culture, the family is the most fundamental and significant feature. Divorce is illegal and annulments are uncommon. During severe economic times, the family serves as a safety net for individuals, particularly older people. Children frequently remain with their parents into adulthood, leaving only when they marry. Family ties often impact political and corporate partnerships. Pakikisama and utang na loob are two characteristics that many international tourists struggle to comprehend. Pakikisama, which loosely translates to getting along, demands people to overlook minor infractions in order to maintain harmony in their family, personal, or professional relationships. The practice of repaying one favor with another is known as utang na loob. These characteristics highlight the importance that Filipinos have on maintaining pleasant interpersonal interactions and prioritizing the group's needs over individual needs. The Philippines have a Roman Catholic population of more than 80%. Fiestas in honor of a town's patron saint are very prevalent. Catholic Church criticism is not taken lightly, and it should be avoided. In the Philippines, people shake hands to greet one another. Hello or yes can be expressed with a smile or raised brows. With a downward sweep of the hand, you can summon someone.
Filipinos are often pleasant and cheerful people who like interacting with others. Strangers frequently engage in conversation or tell stories about their homeland, family, or country to family, friends, or outsiders. Filipinos are known for being emotional and sentimental, yet remaining light-hearted. The phrase, "who got to pull out," is frequently used to describe someone who is drawing forth very emotive memories or experiences. Filipinos, in fact, are frequently willing to relate personal anecdotes from their history. Along with their friendly and light-hearted demeanor, they have a general attitude of acceptance toward life. Bahala na, come what may, encapsulates many Filipinos' strong belief that whatever happens is part of God's plan. Rather than efforts, any individual or group's achievements is sometimes attributed to fate or God. This reflects a fatalistic mindset of Filipino, who are generally accepting of their own and others' misfortunes. This does not, however, imply that Filipinos are passive. Rather, they are diligent individuals who will often go above and beyond to assist themselves and their families. To foretell a destiny of a nation, it is necessary to open the book that tells of her past. This sentence is written on Fort Santiago and was quoted by Dr. Jose P. Rizal, our national hero. Rizal embodied everything that a true noble Filipino is. We honor him not only to honor his legacy, but also to reinforce our Filipino pride. Now that we are in the present, we must be proud in our past as a colonized country because somehow it helped us in what we are today.